Hello, everyone. How are you doing? Welcome to Facts and Two Cents. This is Petal. Hope you are well wherever you are in the world. What is going on? Well, our faves are silent, and I am so happy that they are not engaging and doing whatever they're doing in California, working on their projects, and completely silent in all of the nonsense that's going on Shutter Island. And I'm assuming a lot of you know what is going on right now. And it's all about apparently this new book that's coming out. And one of the things with this, as with all things on Shutter Island, a book that's about, oh, I don't know, Queen Camilla, a book that is about Prince William, now a book about King Charles, and it's all about the Sussexes. And yeah, apparently this is supposed to be a book about King Charles, but it's all about let's attack the Sussexes. And what are they doing? Using Queen Betty, as we see here, using Queen Betty as proxy for their hate, proxy for their racism, proxy for their rage, and all the things that they have put on the Queen. And part of me want to feel sorry for the Queen, but a part of me is just like, you know what? Is you were part of using the same brass, and now they are trashing her reputation. I mean, basically right now she is just angry, racist, petty. I mean, pick an adjective that is negative, and that's basically what they've done. I mean, these are the same people who claimed how much they respect her. And King Charles has allowed his minions in the British press to completely trash his mother. And basically now she is this mean-spirited, nasty, vindictive, racist woman who hates, is basically also lying on her grandson and her great-grandchild. I mean, I don't understand how they could think that puts them in a good light or put the Queen in a good light. I don't understand the thinking behind it. And watching this stuff play out really rings home why, for example, Harry and Meghan would have walked out of there. There is not an intelligent life force in this place. The kind of decisions that they make are just some of the dumbest things I've ever seen in my entire life. And it just is one of those things like you're like, what? What? And so one of the things that among many things, this headline in the Sun, all in a name, fuming queen. The only thing I own is my name, and they've taken it after Meghan and Harry called daughter Lilibet. That's right. The queen, apparently, according to this writer, fuming queen, that outrage. She's angry and raging. Like, you can imagine Queen Betty raging, like, hello. And so fuming Queen said, the only thing I own is my name. And they've taken it. But in a British accent. And the funny thing when I read that, I had to laugh because I'm like, one of the things that, I am not here for Queen Betty. I am not here for her. I think she's a racist queen. I think she's definitely a colonizing queen. I mean, all the things. I am not here for Queen Betty. But the one thing you have to say about Queen Betty is that Queen Betty is an intelligent woman. She's a smart woman. And she's a woman with tact. And she's a woman, I mean, she wouldn't be able to live the way she's done without a woman with some kind of brain in her head. This is the most stupid thing that it's just like, I was like, nope. Queen Betty did not say this. This is like the person who, if you guys remember, the person who came up with Harry and Meghan can't serve outside of, they can no longer be of service outside of the royal family, when Harry and Meghan clapped back at them and basically slapped them with service is universal. This is this kind of person who would write something, who would, at least tell the reporter, if that's what really happened, something this stupid. That Queen Betty would literally, thinking about her life and knowing the life she lives, will literally honor, or literally utter the words, the only thing I own is my name. And I was just like, what? Queen Betty is a smart woman. She did not say this. This is some ridiculously stupid aide at the palace. Again, why these people make some of the dumbest choices is because there's literally, they don't have the brain cell God gave a goat to come up with something this stupid. Just was like, what? And apparently, again, she's apparently fuming because Harry and Meghan called their daughter Lilibet after her. First and foremost, literally, her name is Queen Elizabeth II. Not the first, the second. Meaning, somebody had that name before she did. So if you have a name where you are the second, where do you get off being upset at someone who takes your name? It is just the stupidest, dumbest thing I've ever seen. And then again, you look at the pictures below with some of the things in her life, whether it's horses or the palaces and all of those things, to even think of uttering those words. I'm like, no, Queen Elizabeth is a smart woman. She ain't that dumb. She is not a dumb woman. And this is just, this is like the height of stupidity. And so, not only that, she's like, oh my gosh, it's the only thing I own is my name. I own nothing else. Nothing else. Everything else is the monarchy's, and it's not mine. It's not personally mine. The only thing I own is my name. And then you remember back in 1931, the king's 3-year-old Lilibet, who had her first race in the Spring Hall Plate at Newmarket this week, is named after Princess Elizabeth. Lilibet is the way the princess pronounces her own name. That's right. Her daddy or granddaddy, whatever, had this 3-year-old racehorse named Lilibet. That's right. And you see in the right, I guess back in the day, this is probably one of those archive Times article. They made the electronic version of it. The stables of His Majesty, the King and Emperor announced last week that George V is entering 30 horses to race this year in various British classics. One of these beasts, this is how they named it, one of these beasts, a spry little filly, has been named Lilibet. It is believed, said the spokesman for the royal stables, that this name has reference to His Majesty's older daughter, the Princess Elizabeth of York. And that's right. So just in case, I remember 2021, whenever Princess Lily was born, we had an episode talking about this very thing, that the Queen has a horse, or at least her family has a horse named after her. This is not new information. The British press has this information. Anybody, if you're online or on social media, this information is all out there. That there is a horse that her grandfather named after her, called Lilibet. So if she wasn't all these years upset about a horse named after her, why would she be upset that her great-granddaughter is also named Lilibet? First of all, she doesn't have the rights to the name. It's a name. She doesn't have the patents or the rights to this name. So Harry and Meghan don't have to ask her for permission. There's no obligation for them having to ask her anything. She doesn't own the rights to it. No one does. And so they specifically said they sought her blessing, and she said yes. And they moved forward. But since 2021, adults in the UK, racist white people in the UK, I'm just going to be very blunt, racist white people in the UK, including from the royal household and the press, have been attacking this child, attacking her parents. She was 3-4 days old when they started doing this in 2021. And still to this day, they're doing the same thing about this name. This name, as the Time labeled it, one of these beasts, not even say animal, one of these beasts, a spry filly, has been named Lilibet. No one in the racist island has any issues with this horse, this beast been named Lilibet. But they all have a problem that a child with black blood is named Lilibet. Named in honor of her great-great-grandmother, who, according to that, she was fine. But according to the press and those within the royal household, those, oh, we're not a racist family household, has been abusing this family and abusing this child for the last 3 years. None of them have a problem with this horse being named Lilibet. None of them has brought it up that she had a horse named Lilibet. Yet they keep pulling out this nonsense about, oh, this was a pet name by her husband, Prince Philip. Prince Philip used to call her Cabbage. That was her pet name, not Lilibet, Cabbage. And all this nonsense, oh, after Prince Philip died, she said she didn't want anyone to use lies. And it wasn't just within the family. Princess Diana called her that, the Prince of Spain. I mean, we went through all of this in a previous episode. But the very idea is like, again, her name is Elizabeth II. That means she was Elizabeth I, like in her mother, who graciously gave her name. So wait, if you're the second, what do you get off being upset that somebody has your name when you're the second? You're not even the original. So again, the whole stupidity of this, it just like, do you guys realize how stupid, how petty, how racist you are? Do you have any self-awareness at all? And it seemed like no one in that, whether it's the royal family or their press, have any self-awareness to understand how incredibly stupid they come across and how incredibly racist they come across with this stuff. But no, they keep blaring headlines upon headlines about this stuff. And again, coming back to the stupidity of, oh, the only thing she has is her name. Let's start off with, what the Queen has and what she owns. Because apparently, according to the tabloids, according to the Daily Mail, the Sun, and the Mirror especially, who are all over this, according to them, the Queen, as she says, she only owns her name. That's it. Nothing else. Everything is the monarchies, and the only thing she has is a name. Except she has horses. Not the monarchy's horses. Her personal horses, about 100 horses, at a value of 27 million pounds. Now, why would a woman who was all of this, like 100 horses, at a value of about 27 million pounds, be talking about, oh, the only thing I own is my name? Again, this is not the monarchy's. This is her personal wealth. This is her personal belongings. And one of the things with her, when she used to travel, like to the United States especially, every time she come to one of her rich friends in Kentucky or Dallas or Texas or wherever, she always went back home with horses. Lots of her horses given to her by Middle Eastern princes and kings and whatever, I guess trying to curry favor. They would send all these horses to her. She owned, these were her private collection. Yet, the only thing she owns is her name. It is like all the Queen's horses and their 27 million pound value to the new king. Queen Elizabeth spent 70 years and a large sum of money building up a royal horse breeding and racing operation, which Charles has begun to sell off. That's right. He inherited all of these horses. And a few days after the Queen was buried, he started selling that thing off. These were all her private possession worth 27 million pounds. And it says, on a misty evening in November 2022, a small crowd of racegoers in Kempton Park could not see the starting stall on the far side of the track. The potential of a horse named Slip of the Pen became obvious just 90 seconds later. When she emerged from the fog nearly 6 lengths clear of the runner-up, the jockey's famous purple, scarlet, and gold sink were a clue to the horse's royal pedigree. Slip of the Pen was one of about 100 thoroughbred horses inherited by King Charles from the Queen Elizabeth in September 2022. That's right. She had about 100 horses, and he inherited all of them. And as you can see, it says nearly 30 were sold within a week of her death at a public auction. He just recently were buried, and then he was just like, I don't want all these horses. These were private horses. Yeah, this is a woman who's going to be talking about, oh, I only have my name. I mean, the stupidity of that statement is just unbelievable. And not only that, not only did she have, 100 horses, she also had a side hustle with her horses. She also was racing, as you can see that, this what we just read was when she was a race that her horse, Slip of the Pen, won. It says Queen Elizabeth II has been making an amazing $9 million from her side hustle. The Queen Elizabeth has a lucrative side hustle, horse racing. Over the past 30 years, the pastime has earned her $9,372,441, reports the USA Today, citing data from MyRacing.com. According to the site report, the Queen has claimed 452 wins out of 2,834 races, about 16%. Her best year was 2016, when her earnings totaled $775,325. One of her most significant wins came in 2013, when her horse Estimate won the gold at Ascot. It was the first time a reigning monarch had won the race. She's off to a slow start this year, though. She hasn't collected any winnings yet. And all through her life, that's her thing, racing horses and collecting horses. And so there you go. This is a woman, not only did she have those horses, she has been collecting money. And I love how CNBC termed it as her side hustle. Over $9 million side hustle. And this is the woman they want us to believe is the only thing she has is her name. She has nothing else but her name. Plus the 9 million pounds on her side hustle and 100 horses. We could go on. Her homes. These are only two. She is one of the biggest landowners, at least when she was alive, one of the biggest landowners in all of the UK. And people are like, oh, but she doesn't own Windsor Castle, she doesn't own Buckingham Palace. Well, these are two that she owns. Balmoral in Scotland, where she passed away. Sandringham, where she and the rest of the royals spend Christmas. Those are her private homes. These are not state homes. These are not, the country's palaces. These are her private homes, among many others. And according to CBS, it says Queen Elizabeth's net worth, $500 million. The Queen's personal fortune stems from her ownership of art, jewels, investments, and real estate, which includes Balmoral top in Scotland, where she passed away on Thursday, and Sandringham at the bottom there in England, together whose assets value at $500 million, Forbes estimates. And so that's why it's just so ridiculous to be like, oh my gosh, the only thing I have is my name, when these are her personal homes. Like, the stupidity of that. And not only that, not only her homes and her horses, her jewelry. And so The Guardian last year did this whole thing with all of the different things, whether it's the horses or the jewelry or the artwork and all of those things that the royal family owns. And one of the things they talked about was the jewelry. Some of it is it's the crown's property, but a lot of it is her private property. And so the Guardian had taken it upon themselves to sort of evaluating the value of some, not all, because we don't know all of what she has, but some. And even then, they were like, it's kind of probably a low balling it here. It says jewelry worth hundreds of millions in the king's private collection. That's right. King Charles inherited the Queen's private collection of jewelry. Guardian estimates Charles has inherited gems worth at least 533 million from the Queen. And the article goes on to say, it says, even taking a more conservative estimate used in the past, the Queen's jewelry is likely to fetch at least 10 times its basic value. Using this methodology, 54 of the private pieces valued by the Guardian and now owned by the King would have an overall value of 533 million pounds. And of course, a spokesman for Buckingham Palace said, we do not comment on the private property owned by members of the royal family. So this is the person that you want us to believe sat there and with a straight face claimed the only thing she has is her name. Add that to her horses, add that to her palaces. 533 million of worth, and that's again lowballing it because again nobody knows all the pieces that she has, and if we know the Queen, she hides that stuff. So yeah, but the lowball value is right now is $533 million. This is the person they want us to feel sorry for. They want, oh dear, the dastardly Harry and Meghan hurt this poor Queen with, oh, she has nothing in the world and all she has is her name. This is what they want people to believe. I mean, you have to be really stupid to buy into this. What else? Talk about the Queen's wealth. Let's talk a little bit about her, offshore, offshore wealth. And we remember what the Paradise Papers, I'm just going to move my banner so we can read at the bottom. All the money that she has in tax shelters. Revealed. Queen's private estate invested millions of pounds offshore. Paradise Paper leaks revealed the Duchy of Lancaster, which that's where she got her funds for Lancaster, Duchy of Lancaster, put money into retailers criticized for exploiting poor families. This totally tracks. This is who they are. They've been exploiting poor people their whole life. But here it's revealing that she's been stashing money offshore, tax havens. Millions of pounds from the Queen's private estate has been invested in the Cayman Islands, in a Cayman Islands fund as part of an offshore portfolio that has never before been disclosed, according to documents revealed in an investigation into offshore tax havens. Files from a substantial leak show for the first time how the Queen, through the Duchy of Lancaster, has held and still holds investments via funds that have put money into an array of businesses, including the off-license chain Threshers and retailers Bright House, which have been criticized for exploiting thousands of poor families and vulnerable people. The Duchy admitted it had no idea about the 12-year investment in Bright House until approached by The Guardian and other partners in an international project called the Paradise Papers. Oh, really? I didn't know. I'm innocent. Right, chair. The royal family exploiting poor people? You don't say. Ripping off poor families? Oh, really? I'm so shocked. I am so very shocked. This is the Queen who hides her money in tax shelters that we're supposed to feel sorry for. Revealed on the other side, this is also a Guardian article a few months ago. King Charles secretly profiting from the assets of dead people, dead citizens. Exclusive assets of thousands of people north of England used to upgrade King's property empire via archaic customs. He would turn in his grave the dead whose assets went to King Charles. How Bonaventia is used to collect money from dead people. The king is profiting from the deaths of thousands of people in the northwest of England, whose assets are secretly being used to upgrade a commercial property empire managed by his hereditary estate, the Guardian revealed. The Duchy of Lancaster, yeah, that same duchy from the Queen. Controversial land and property estate that generates huge profits for King Charles has collected tens of millions of pounds in recent years under an antiquated system that dates back to feudal times. Financial assets known as Bonaventia, owned by people who died without a will or known next of kin, are collected by the duchy. Over the past 10 years, it has collected more than 60 million pounds in the funds. It has long claimed that after deducting taxes, Bonaventia revenue are donating to charities. Who had the Duchy of Lancaster? Who benefited from the Duchy of Lancaster before Charles, became king? The Queen. She and the Duchy of Lancaster were participating in ripping off dead people. So is it any wonder they'd be a part of something where they exploit thousands of poor families? Is that a stretch? No, it's not. They are used to this kind of exploitation. Imagine stealing from the dead and then having the audacity to claim like, oh, I have nothing but my name. That is crazy. That is absolutely crazy. This woman is like hiding money offshore, stealing from dead people. All this is hers. This is not the monarchy's. This is her private wealth. The Duchy of Lancaster was hers. And all the profits was hers, including all of the 60 million collected from dead people. That was supposed to go to charity. Instead, she took it. And yet, people are supposed to believe that all she had was her name. And not only that, not only did she have ridiculous amount of wealth, personal wealth, what did she do? Queen lobbied for a change in law to hide her wealth. That's right. She lobbied Parliament for a change in the law so she could hide her wealth. Monarch dispatched the private solicitor to secure exemption from transparency law. The Queen successfully lobbied the government to change a draft law in order to conceal her embarrassing private wealth from the public, according to documents discovered. A series of government memos unearthed in the National Archive reveal that Queen's Windsor private lawyers put pressure on ministers to alter proposed legislation to prevent her shareholdings from being disclosed to the public. Following the Queen's intervention, the government inserted a clause into the law granting itself the power to exempt the companies used by the head of state from new transparency measures. The arrangement, which was concocted in the 1970s, was used in effect to create a state-backed shell company, which is understood to have placed a veil of secrecy over the Queen's financial holdings and investments until at least 2011. The true scale of her wealth has never been disclosed, though it has been estimated to run into the hundreds of millions of pounds. So when people tell me that, oh, the royal family can't get into politics, for example, Kate can't go and advocate for money for her early years and all of that stuff, that's why I always call nonsense on those things. Because it's nonsense. The Queen had no problems lobbying Parliament to hide her wealth. She had no problems with doing it. So then why are people like Kate supposedly afraid to lobby on behalf of children? This is the woman who people are supposed to feel sorry for because she's been so wronged. How dare they do this to a woman when all she has is her name? Yet she has all of this other stuff that goes along with it. And just in case you're wondering, I mean, we mentioned about this whole thing started with this book. This guy is writing, his name is Robert Hardman. And again, this book is supposed to be about King Charles. It's supposed to be about his first year as king. And what is this book is? Anything but that. It has all been about let's attack Harry and Meghan and attack their three-year-old daughter. And who is this? And who is this Robert Hardman? Well, look at the bottom where it's highlighted. Hardman has been a columnist in royal correspondence for the Daily Telegraph and since 2001 writes for the Daily Mail. That's all you need. That's literally all you need to know is that Robert Hardman is a Daily Mail reporter. And one of the things that happened recently, Robert Hardman, is this documentary that came out, I think the day after Christmas and Boxing Day. King Charles III, the coronation year, I think it was called. And look who on your right is the person who wrote that documentary. We talked about that fawning documentary where there was no dissenting voice, there was no opposite voice. It was all of this royal propaganda for King Charles. And look who has the writing credit on that documentary. That's right, Robert Hardman. It's Yet if you hear royal reporters talk about this book, it's like he's an independent party, he's an independent source. So therefore people should trust this book. Again, think back to the documentary. Not one dissenting voice. This man is a sycophant of sycophants. It's amazing. But he is the writer for that documentary. And it's very funny because this was, the initial with Lilibet and the naming and all of that stuff, the initial in 2021 was to attack the Sussexes. That how dare they steal the Queen Elizabeth's name? How dare they do any of those things? They don't deserve to have the name Lilibet and all of that nonsense. And then last year, apparently this friend of the Queen and the friend of the royal family wrote this book. And these are some of the things that came out of this book. The Mirror. Queen's adorable comment over Lilibet's name, unlike the rest of the royal family. The Queen was said to have seen the Duke and Duchess of Sussex naming their daughter after her nickname used by Prince Philip as a compliment, according to new biography. The Daily Mail. Even before that, Harry wanted to, and this was in 2021, they're writing this. Harry wanted to name daughter after the Queen even before he met Meghan and had discussed the idea with his grandmother, insiders say. These were all a couple of years ago. After the big fury, they are just backtracking and it's like, oh, actually, they did ask. A little more of this, and there's this article. The Queen took Harry and Meghan calling their daughter Lilibet as compliment it was intended to be. New book claimed. The late Queen took Harry and Meghan naming their daughter Lilibet as a compliment it was intended to be, according to a new book. Elizabeth, an intimate portrait by Giles Branda, which is slated to release in the month, features numerous vignettes about life inside the firm. Mr. Branda, who occupies a unique position as a friend and biography of the family, writes about the relationship between His Majesty and the Duke 38 and Duchess 41. This is a supposed friend that apparently, in some way, the royal family trusted him and fed him information, or whomever it was that fed him information. He was writing that she took it as, a compliment. Why wouldn't she? Again, she is not Elizabeth the First, she's Elizabeth the Second. She took it as a compliment as it was intended to be. They couldn't leave that alone. They were serializing this man's book in their paper. This guy had this intimate relationship and paints an intimate portrait of the queen. And again, he is saying, no, this is false. The queen was not angry. She wasn't all of that stuff. Naming her daughter Lilibet as a compliment, she took it as a compliment that it was meant to be. So this was all the narrative a year ago or 2 years ago. And it's funny because Scobie wrote, he tweeted about this. It's like none of these Lilibet revelations are doing the late Queen Elizabeth any favors. Not only do they contradict details shared by the palace with a cooperative written biography in 2022, see the pictures, they also depict the monarch in a way that the public haven't known her to be. The other 3 articles you saw, we've just read, but another article that was in there was one from the Sun, the US Sun. In her name, the royals thought Meghan and Harry calling daughter Lilibet was bewildering, but the Queen had a different reaction, the book claimed. The royal family found it bewildering and rather presumptuous when Meghan Markle and Prince Harry called their daughter Lilibet a book, as claimed. But the Queen said the name was very pretty and seems just right. Biographer Giles Brandis suggested. So again, this is what they were all tweeting in 2022 and 2021. That the initial narrative that, the Queen was angry at Harry and Meghan and all this nonsense, that she didn't give them permission, which again, they don't need. That it was nonsense, that the Queen, she was fine. Again, according to a biographer who is very close to the royals, who, as it says, as the own Daily Mail says, that he occupies a unique position as a friend and biographer of the royal family. That's what they were tweeting. That's what they were tweeting last year. And then all of a sudden, we're supposed to believe this guy who is a Daily Mail reporter. A Daily Mail reporter. One who just wrote this ridiculously, and then people were just criticizing it and did pretty much nothing at the, in ratings. This fawning documentary about King Charles's coronation. We're supposed to believe this person, again, a Daily Mail reporter, that somehow Queen Betty has lost her mind and forgetting all the personal wealth she has to claim that, oh, my name is the only thing I have, and they've taken that. And just in case you were living under a rock, these same 3 papers, the Sun, the Daily Mail, and the Mirror, why are they the ones just going to town about this? Why? Because why? Prince Harry granted trial against the Sun. Prince Harry wins ruling allowing case against the Daily Mail publisher to continue. Prince Harry wins hacking lawsuit against the Mirror News Group newspaper. Why are they attacking Harry? Over some lie about the Queen claiming that the only thing she has is her name? Why? Because Harry is suing all 3 of them. And if you're a squatty, this is not news. I'm speaking to the choir. But if you didn't know or didn't understand and you don't pay attention to all these things, and you're like, well, why are they attacking the Sussexes? This is why. All 3 of them, Harry has filed court cases against them. And Harry is in court with them. He's already won against the Mirror in December. And he has these 2 court cases coming up. Actually, there are about 3 of them, I think, against the Daily Mail alone. And there's one also against the Sun for hacking, for illegal news gathering, hacking his phone and all of that stuff, and his voicemail. And so that's why they are going and attacking and coming up with these lies and ridiculous articles and ridiculous books. Again, the queen is the queen, I'm not here for Queen Betty. But one thing I know about Queen Betty is that she's not a stupid person. And it takes a very, very stupid person to come up with the queen is angry about her great granddaughter having her name, and also that her name was the only thing she owns, as we just looked at. That's nonsense. And the only people could come up with something that stupid, some of the, I'm sure some of the aides that, behaved in the way they behaved, while the Sussexes had to just be like, peace out. We're piecing out of here. It's just stupid. Queen Betty and they're stupid. She is a Elizabeth II. She's not the original Elizabeth. So I'm assuming she would have a little bit of a self-awareness that she has someone else's name. She's not the original Elizabeth in this family. She's the second. So why would she be upset that somebody has her name? That is dumb. And for the life of me, you look for some kind of person in the British press that have some kind of intelligence. I mean, I've lost hope for the royal family because there is just there's just no any kind of intelligence anywhere there. And for me, I'm thinking like, gosh, if I was paying for this monarchy, I would have a little bit of concerns that this is where my money is going. That these are the stupid people that I'd be paying for, like what? To come up with something this stupid? To trash the Queen's name? Again, I'm not here for Queen Betty, but this woman is dead and she cannot speak for herself. And also, too, honestly, part of this is her fault. When this whole thing was happening in 2021, she should have spoken up. She should have said, no, this is false. She should not have waited for somebody to write it in a book. She should have spoken up. She didn't. In her actions and the way she, was with the Sussexes, with their clandestine meetings and all of that stuff, you could tell that maybe, that was not the way she was thinking at all. But she should have said, but again, in her elderly years, she was basically not in control of anything. I don't believe she was in control of anything. And even if she probably wanted to put out a press release, they probably will just say no and not do it. So that way they can use her as proxy for their hate and their racism. But there is no way the Queen would sit here talking about, again, this Queen is a smart woman. There's no way she'd say something that stupid. Queen Betty and, her name Lilibet. And again, the only reason why they have an issue is because Lilibet has black blood. Meghan is part black. She's also American. They can't deal with the fact that an American walked up into their most sacred place and found it wanting. And they promptly said, peace, I am out of here. And then took the best royal with her. That's what this is all about. They're just using the Queen there because they know the Queen is an elderly lady and nobody wants to see an elderly lady being treated badly. But you only have to look and to see how they treated the Queen. Again, even an article in the Telegraph was questioning whether people were taking care of the Queen when they saw her with just all these bruises on her leg and her hands, and she just looked unkempt with her coat just buttoned and in all the wrong buttons and all of that stuff. There were clear signs of elder abuse there. They don't want to deal with that. They rather distract from all of those things, distract from Prince Andrew's mess, and attack a family and attack a 3-year-old baby. The royal family is a disgrace. King Charles is a disgrace. He would allow the British press and members of the British press to do this to his own mother's name. I've said it before and I'll say it again. He has never had any respect for his mother, no matter what he says. And this is quite clear that he does not respect her. He does not respect her legacy. to allow Robert Hartman to do this to his mother's leg is disgusting. And the funny part of this is people aren't really, other than the Rangers, people aren't really buying this nonsense. As a matter of fact, people are mocking it. They are mocking her. So, anyways, we're just gonna leave Queen Betty, leave her to her horse Lilibet, and her only thing she has for herself is her name. We're just gonna leave them on Shutter Island. And again, I'm very happy that our faves have found, they are not engaging, and leave them to their mess and their cess. So, anyways, that's it, guys. Thank you so much to our awesome moderators, Lydia, Churchinelli, Karen M, Cookies and Cream, Black Queen. Thank you so much. Thank you to our awesome 2 cents crew who support the channel on a monthly basis. Thank you all so much for your support. And thank you to all of you who support in PayPal or Cash App. I appreciate you so much. Thank you all so very much. If you have not subscribed, go ahead and subscribe and hit the notification bell so you know when you drop a video. Please like and share this video. I would appreciate it and help us grow the channel. Thank you guys so much. Have a fantastic day, and I will chat with you next time. Bye.